Good morning, ladies. Hope everybody's having a good morning so far. We're going today talk about how I became on my path. Before I do that, I just want to talk a little bit about some of the things that I'm going to be planning on talking about in the next few weeks. Because I know everything that we've talked about in the last couple of days is kind of some heavy stuff, so I want you to know that there is going to be some fun stuff coming. It's not going to be like this every day. And again, that's why I had said that I wanted to do a bunch of these, all together, and just kind of get the group going, get the direction going, and so that, that's kind of out of the way, so to speak. But so I just wanted to just go over real quick some of the things. So next week we're going to, one of my lives is going to be about being present, being thankful, and being forgiving. So that is kind of, also, I guess that could be a little bit on the heavier end as well, but, it's going to be more, we're going to get out of talking so much about me and more starting talking about you guys. So we're going to talk about a little bit about the new moon, because I did put a link on there for you guys for an event from Sage Goddess for the new moon ritual. There is items you can purchase for that ritual, but somebody asked me if you need them. You don't need them. It's kind of fun to have them to go along with the ritual, to be doing them at the same time, do it at the same time, but you don't have to. And you can certainly, if you have some of the items that are in the kit at home, just use them. You don't need to buy something that you already have. So then we're going to also be talking about, I wanted to talk a little bit about self-care tips for people who use energies. And you said, what exactly does that mean? So anybody that does any kind of energy work, which is like an empath, a psychic, a medium, a Reiki healer, a chakra healer, myself, a lot of, just different people that work with different kinds of energies. It's very draining sometimes for us. And so, or overwhelming as well. So I'm just going to talk about, like 4 simple ways that you can just kind of come back to yourself and take care of yourself. So those are going to be easy ways, so that'll be kind of a fun one. Going to talk a little bit about your chakras. So in this live that we're going to do, and that I think is going to be Wednesday, I'm basically just going to go over the chakras and a little bit of facts about each one. But eventually going down the line, I will do a live on each chakra. I just got my new book, so I have lots of reading to do, but it's, a really great book. And there's like a lot of information and a lot of great pictures. There's a lot of artwork in here as well, so let me see if I can find a picture of one of the goddesses that is in here. There was one that was really, I was really drawn to, and so I just kind of want to show that to you and see if I can find it real quick here, which I'm not going to be able to now. Oh, right here. This one. That picture is beautiful. But we'll go over. So Wednesday we're just going to go over the chakras real quick. But then, like I said, eventually going down the line, I'll do a live on each chakra for you. Especially for people that are not familiar with chakras and, don't really know what I'm talking about. So then on Thursday next week, I'm going to just talk about like my top oils. So if you're just new to aromatherapy and you're like, I don't know what to buy, there's so many. There's like an endless amount of essential oils out there you can buy, in singles and in blends. but I will just kind of go over my top picks, and just kind of let you know if this is where you're looking to start. These would be the ones I would recommend. So that's on Thursday. All right, and then I will do a live next Tuesday most likely. I haven't picked a topic yet, so if somebody has something that they want to talk about, or want information about, just send me a message, because I can fit you in for Tuesday's live. I do have some other things I want to talk about, but I'm just kind of leaving that one open. So if somebody, has something they want me to talk about, I have that day. On next Thursday, so that's the 20th, we're going to talk about Mabon, which is the fall equinox. And again, I invited you. I shared the event for that for Sage Goddess. And again, you don't need to buy the tools if you don't want to. They're not necessary. And we're going to talk about full moons, because that's coming up as well. So lots of stuff to go over in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully it will be fun and interesting for you. I will do my best to make it that way for you. So we're going to talk about today how I came on my path. And honestly, when I prepare for my lives, I usually run it through my head, and then I kind of tweak it a little bit and I run it through my head again. So when I get on here, I kind of have an idea of exactly what I want to say to you. And with this one, for some reason, I was struggling with it. Every time I ran it through my head, it was different. I don't know if that's something that's a sign for me or a sign for somebody watching. So just bear with me if I kind of go scatterbrained on this one for you a little bit. So how I came on my path. There has been 3, we'll call them events for lack of a better word, but times, that have been sort of life-changing, life-altering for me. And they're not huge things. It didn't change my life completely. I'm talking about my path of where I'm going. Back in 2012, I worked for a corporate business, and it was very stressful. It was a very negative and angry environment, and but I had never planned on leaving. I just had not ever thought about it, and so in 2012 I got fired, and so first of all I was ashamed and embarrassed and cried, but then after that, when I'm thinking, okay, now what am I going to do? I have to make money. I have to have a job. I decided I wanted to go a different direction from where I was. I wanted to do something that was going to help somebody. And at that time, I opened my own little consignment store, which didn't work out, but that's not really the point of this conversation. The point is you can decide something and not know exactly how to do it. And so it's going to take you steps to get where you want to go. So it took me a bunch of steps to get to here today, where I feel like this is what I want to do for you. So in 2012, I got fired. And so that made me step back and think about what I wanted to do. And I knew at that point, I wanted to do something that was going to be helping people. But that was about all I knew. I hadn't quite put all the pieces together. So many years later, in 2017, so five years later, this took me a long time to get where I'm at. But back in 2017, I started to put the pieces together a little bit more on my spirituality and what I wanted to really, focus on and concentrate on. But I wasn't really sure still. So a friend of mine, we went to a guided meditation and a circle ritual. Circle rituals are, it was amazing. It was great. I not really great on it, but at some point maybe we can do something like that. It was fun. We had a good time. We both learned a lot. But in that guided meditation, I kept seeing a triangle, and I didn't know what that meant. So talking to the other people there and talking to my friend, and everybody's like, "Oh, triangle's the side of your third eye. You must be an empath." But I knew that wasn't really right, because if you're an empath, you don't necessarily know you're an empath, but you know those feelings coming through and stuff, and I didn't have that. So I knew that wasn't really right. But everybody kept telling me I was an empath. And so I'm like, all right, well, it must be I've got to open my third eye. So I went out and bought crystals for opening my third eye and all these different things. And I'm like, no, this doesn't really seem to be my fit. So then just in the last month, in August, I found Sage Goddess. And it was a post on Facebook that popped up, and it's a post I went by I don't know how many times. And one day I was sitting here and I said, I think I'm going to just check this out. What is this? What's this all about? So I clicked on it, and like 6 hours later, I was still on there. I was still watching videos. I was still reading her blogs. I was just amazed. And which led me to the personality test that I put on there for you yesterday. And quick note on that, somebody brought to my attention that I put the wrong link on there for you yesterday. The link that I had on there was actually, I guess, trying to charge people for it, and I do apologize for that, because I won't ask you to do that. I wouldn't ask you to pay for something like that. So I've removed that link and put in the correct link for you. So if you went to the link yesterday and saw that it was going to charge you and you backed out of it, I don't blame you. But the link is back on there, and I'm going to put the link on today's as well, so it's just it's right there. It's easy for you to find if that's something you want to do. Because I wouldn't ask you to pay for something like that. If I was going to ask you to pay for something like that, I would tell you up front that it's going to cost you something. So those are the three, again, number 3. Those are the 3 things that kind of are things that stand out to me, that put me in the right direction, that guided me to where I wanted to be. And so with that, I took the personality test, and like I said, I kept reading these results, and the word intuitive kept coming back to me, and all these different things I was reading, and it's like, And so that's when I started researching, reading about that, and I'm like, that is me. That I fit that. That's what I feel. So it took me a long time to get there. Like I said, it started back in 2012, but in 2012, I didn't really know I was on a spiritual change. I just thought I was on a career change. So it wasn't until like 2016, 2017 that I started researching more of the spiritual path that I'm on. So now that I know that this is the path that I'm on, that I want to be a intuitive light healer. Actually, I don't want to be. I am. I want to now share it with you. So forgive my wording sometimes. So then I had to sit back and think, what are my purposes now? What exactly do I want to do with this? So, and I talked yesterday a little bit, and the day before too, because we talked about the light worker. And so again, those come down under teach and guide and enlighten. So to teach, I'm not here to teach you about my spirituality. I'm here to teach you about all different kinds of things. And if you don't agree with my spirituality, you don't have to. I'm not here to convert anybody. Everybody's perfect just the way they are. We just, we can always just be better than perfect. So teach is just spreading the word, just sharing, spreading, and I hope that you'll find something here that you want to go spread and share with somebody else. And to guide. So, some of you already kind of know the path that you're on, and I can help guide you. Like I had somebody come to me yesterday and tell me that she's an empath. And I said, great, we're going to do some tips on, focusing with self-care for empaths. So, that's good to know that I have a couple of empaths out there. Somebody had already come to me and said she wants to learn to be a chakra healer. And so, again, I can guide you. I can guide you through that. I can kind of help you. I can't teach you about it. I don't know about chakra healing. I'm not a chakra healer. but I can guide you. It can help you get to where you want to go. And I can just kind of enlighten you. And that's not always spiritually or, you know, it doesn't have to be spiritual. It can be anything. Can it, you know, even sometimes just a simple, it sounds funny, but a simple product. Teaching you about a product can change your life. Sounds weird, but, you know, sometimes simple little things can change us. So, you know, I want to enlighten you. I do want to enlighten you spiritually, but, you know, don't feel like if you don't agree with my spirituality that, you know, you can't be on the page, or you're like, gosh, that's all she does is talk about spirituality. I'm going to try not to. I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable, but I just wanted to do these so you guys all know the place that I'm coming from and why it is that I do what I'm doing. So my spirituality, now we know the path, and now we know my purpose. So now what is my spirituality? It's a little bit of a different one. It doesn't really fall under any boxes or categories or labels. I don't really like labels. Labels sometimes trap people. But for the purpose of my life, I've got to give it a label. And silly, but Facebook asks your religion, and so I put it on there. I've named it. I've called it out. So I'm a Celtic pagan. What does that mean, right? So, quick history. My grandfather was a Wheelock. Most people believe Wheelocks to be an English name. That is incorrect. It is actually a Scottish name. My grandmother, on my mother's side, this is my mother's side, my grandmother was a Connolly, which is Irish. There's no doubt about that. My paternal side, my grandmother and my grandfather were both from Germany. Now, in my readings and in my research, and I'm not a historian, so I could be wrong, but everything that I've read shows that most of Germany was populated, immigrated by Scotland or Ireland. So it all kind of goes back to the same place for me. So that's a quick history on my family. The really quick version of my family tree. So I really connect with that the Celtic part, and a lot of the different spirituality things that I celebrate and things like that go back to the Celtic pagans. So, and again, you know, like I said, we're going to talk about Mabon, and, you know, we'll talk about Yule, and as they come along, we'll talk about them. And so, and we'll compare how a lot of the pagan traditions and celebrations are very similar to today's. So we'll get more into all of that. We can't cover all the holidays today. So pagan, it's a scary word, I think, for a lot of people. I don't do blood sacrifices or anything like that. I don't have creepy altars all around the house. I don't worship Satan in any way. I don't even believe in Satan. Myself as a pagan, I don't believe in the devil or demons or hell. I don't believe that they exist, which is a whole nother conversation. But I believe there's versions of what happened to us that may not always be so pleasant. But I don't believe that there's a hell that we're going to all, if you sinned, you're going to go burn forever in hell. I don't believe that. That's not what we were intended for. That's not what we were put here for. But pagan, the actual definition of pagan, and I wrote it down so that I can say it correctly to you, is simply believing in more than one God. That's all it means. So the Romans fall under pagans. A lot of the Oriental religions have lots of different gods, so they kind of fall under pagans. But anything before the era of BC, before Christ, anything before that, almost every village culture out there believed in more than one God. So that kind of all changed when the BC came around, and Christianity and Methodist and Protestant and all those other religions came into play. So I'm going to give you the really quick version of my theory on that. And you can agree or disagree. That is perfectly fine. I'm not telling you you need to agree. I'm just telling you this is my version. So, again, I wrote it down because I want to make sure I get it right. I believe all gods are the same God. That gods appear to each of us as we need him or her to be. Does that make sense? You don't have to believe it. I'm not asking if you believe it. I'm asking, does that make sense? So hopefully that makes sense. And again, if you ever have questions, you can put them in the comments, or you can private message me. So anytime you can do that, and I will answer you. I was chatting with somebody on Messenger last night at like midnight. The other night before, it was like 2 o'clock. I have insomnia really bad. So, if you have a question and you think of it, just go ahead and pop on and ask me. Chances are I'm going to answer you. So, so again, pagan is anybody that simply believes in more than one God, right? That's the definition. But I just told you, from my belief, I believe all gods to be the same God that appear to each of us how we need him or her to be. So, how can I be a pagan? Well, it's because I don't fit in under Christians, Catholics, Methodists. So, I fall under pagan as far as labels go. So again, it's a little different for me on that. But I do celebrate all the different holidays. So I celebrate the metaphysical holidays, which are like the new moon and the full moon and those kinds of things. So, and I don't have a huge bonfire. I don't go back and have a huge bonfire and dance around the bonfire. You can if you want to. It's just not my thing. But I do celebrate them in some way. It could just be a small thing. So, at Christmas we decorate. So a lot of these different holidays, that's what it is for me. I decorate my house for them, and things of that sort. So the metaphysical events, and we'll get in, there's a whole ton on metaphysics. So we'll get into all of that. But I do celebrate those, which are the lunar events. And so we do have a new moon coming, and we do have a full moon coming. And there are going to be rituals that I will, if I haven't posted them yet, I will make sure that I've posted them. I'm pretty sure I did the new moon one. I'm not sure if I've done the full moon one yet. So I will get that up there for you. And again, these are Sage Goddesses events. These are not my events. But they're the events that I join in on. And so I'm welcoming you to join in with me and do these. And you also get a chance to watch Athena, and she's amazing, and you'll kind of understand why I do what I do by seeing Athena as well. I celebrate the pagan holidays, which are, like I said, it's like the summer solstice, the fall equinox, Yule. There's a wheel of the year for the holidays is how they do it. It's kind of their version of a calendar. And I will post some pictures maybe later today on the wheel of the year. So that'll be out there for you. And if you have questions, just ask me. So I also celebrate the traditional holidays. which is your Christmas. Valentine's Day is not really a holiday as far as religion goes, but New Year's, Christmas, all of those things. Because New Year doesn't go with the lunar metaphysical calendar, but everybody wants to go out on New Year's and drink champagne and kiss your loved one. So I kind of am a mix. I don't really fit, like I said, I don't fit in a box, and that's okay that I don't fit in a box, because for a long time I had a hard time with that. Like I'm not normal. I'm not like everybody else. But as I've done these and I've researched and I've read, and I realized that there's a lot of us that don't fit inside a box, and so I want a place for some of us to come. And again, not here to convert. And if you just for example, if you're a Catholic and you're a devout Catholic and you know that's your path and you know that's your religion and stuff, you can still be on here, because you can still learn about aromatherapy or crystals. You can still learn about just being self-healing. There's a lot of things that you can learn that are not gonna make you feel like you're going against your own spirituality, your own religion. So I just wanted to put that out there. Before I leave, before I say goodbye to you all, I wanted to do a little competition. Not competition, contest, raffle. I don't know what you want to call it. Labels. So I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to spread this group. And so, I wanted to ask you all to, share the group or invite. Well, you can't really share it because it's a closed group, but you can invite. You can, share the link for the group, and then they have to go to the group and click join. And again, it's for ladies only, so no gentlemen, sorry. And unfortunately, I feel bad, but there's a lot of people out there in Facebook land that have like a shared account with their significant other that is a male. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to accept you into the group. And I feel really badly about that, but I'm not doing it to be mean to anybody. I'm doing it because I've promised that this is going to be a safe, male-free place for everybody. And if you have an account that's a shared account, there's a possibility that your significant other could get in here and see the group. And it's not a secret society or anything like that, but I just want it to be safe, and I want people to be able to feel like, if they have a question, like I said, about their menstrual flow or sexuality or anything like that, that they can ask it and be comfortable with that. So anyway, sharing the group. So go ahead and share, and go ahead and invite, send the link, however you want to do it, or just tell people, they can just search the name and they can find the group. So today is Thursday. I'm really bad with time. You'll get used to that. I'm always late. I don't know what day it is. It's a mess. Today's Thursday. So for the next week till next Friday, for every 5 members that join, and they have to still, so if you add them today, they still have to be in there on Friday. You can't add them and then they're in the group for a day or two and then they're out. So you can go on Fridays, just so everybody understands what I'm doing. So on Friday morning, I can go in and I can just go through the members list, and I can see, it shows me who's added them to the list. And so, time to go to work. So I can see who's added them. And for every 5 that you get to join, your name will go in. So if you add 10, your name will go in twice. 15 3 times, so on. And so on Friday, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to pick a name. And the winner is going to get this little piece of amethyst. I was going to, I'm trying to get it in the camera here so you can see it. It's very beautiful. It's a tumbled stone amethyst. My camera's not great, so I apologize, guys. Maybe that's something I have to work on. So I was gonna buy a crystal. That was my intention. I was gonna go online and buy a crystal, and I was gonna get an amethyst, and because amethysts just they're great for so many reasons, and I'm not gonna go into all that today, but we will at some point. So I wanted to give away an amethyst. So I was going to go on and I was going to order one, and it would be here for next week for the giveaway. So this morning I went in and where my crystals are in my bedroom. And I wanted to grab a piece to show you what an amethyst looked like. And so you'd have an idea of what you're going to get. And a friend of mine gave me a beautiful box set of amethysts. So my intention was to go in and get a piece of that amethyst to show you. That was not going to be the one I was going to give away. That was gifted to me. That will be mine forever until I'm no longer here. But I wanted to go in and just get a piece so I could show it to you. And when I was in there, immediately when I went in and stood there where my crystals are, this crystal was like, pick me, pick me, pick me. Didn't really say that. So just a little story on this amethyst. So a couple of years ago, last year, again, time, it's a blur for me. It kind of all loops around. I have a very hard time keeping track of if it was last year or 5 years ago. My brain just doesn't function well on that kind of a level. You'll see I have an amethyst ring on too. It's lovely. I bought it. I put it on. I haven't taken it off since. I can't take my eyes off it most of the time. I love it. Anyway, another story. So this amethyst, my husband and I went to Salem, Massachusetts. I'm not a witch. I don't follow the Wicca path. But Salem was always someplace I wanted to go. And it was amazing. And whether you believe in witches or not, the energy down there is amazing. I can't even tell you. You're going to think I'm crazy. But I have a bad back, I have bad knees, I have bad hips. I'm a mess most of the time. When I was down there, I didn't feel anything like that. My back didn't hurt. My knees didn't hurt. I can't explain it to you. I didn't ever want to come home. And I can't wait to go back. But, so, that friend that I went to the guided meditation with is also the friend that gave me my amethyst box set. So, lots of love to her. She knows who she is. If she wants to say something on there, she certainly can. But I'm not going to call anybody's name out unless they tell me it's okay to do that. So she said to me, this was back when I had gone to the guided meditation, and everybody's like, oh, you need to work on opening your third eye. You need to, work on pulling that energies from being an empath and getting that all open. So she had given me a list of a couple of crystals to buy. She knows a lot more about crystals than I do. Because I was really never drawn to crystals until just recently. I've always been into the aromatherapy part of it. But anyway, crystals. So she gave me a list of crystals that was going to help me open my third eye. So while my husband and I were in Salem, going in and out of all these wonderful shops that I could have just lived in and never ever come out, I was buying all these little crystals. So I was kind of on a crystal hunt in Salem. And I wanted them to come from Salem because of the energy, like I said, that was down there. And that it would just have kind of a special meaning. Sorry, there's a fly in here. And he's going to bother me right now at the end of this live. So they were going to have some special meaning to me because they would all come from Salem. So this amethyst came from Salem. And I'm going to give it away. I feel like it's time. It needs to go somewhere else. So if you would like to have a chance to get this free little piece of amethyst that came right from Salem, that walked all over Salem with me in my pocket. All you have to do is add 5 members. And if you really want it, add 10 or 15 or 20. Okay? So that's the end of my life today because I do have to go to work and I've been rambling. I told you guys this was going to be a weird one because it didn't play out well in my head. It kept changing. So I knew it was going to be different. I didn't really even know what I was going to say, what was going to come out of my mouth. It's not really all that weird for me though anyway. So we covered quickly my path, my spirituality, my purposes. We covered what is going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. Again, I do have a live planned for a couple of weeks that I don't have anything planned in there yet. So if there's something you want to talk about, certainly, comment or send me a message, and we can do that. We can fit that in there for you. Another fun thing that I'm working on, I haven't got any dates or anything yet. I don't want to plan out too far ahead because sometimes just the flow of things may change, and the way the conversations are going may change, and I may want to change it up a little bit. I did have certain things planned in there because I wanted to talk about Mabom when it's the fall equinox and things like that. So those are kind of planned in there at certain times. But so if you have something you want to talk about, let me know. But I talked to a friend of mine last night, again while I couldn't sleep, and she's amazing, and I don't even want to put a label on her. She's just amazing. She might put a label on herself, but I don't want to put a label. She's just amazing. I spoke with her last night about doing a segment on teas, because she makes her own teas, and so teas are herbs, really, and I want to do a segment on that. So I talked to her, and she said, yeah, she'd love to, and she's willing to, once we do that live. And if you want to go check it out now, that's fine. I'm going to put the links for her. I'm not sure if it's a page or a group, but either way, I'm going to put the links in for the things that she does. And she's willing to ship to people. So, if you are interested in some teas, they're going to be loose teas. I don't believe she does any bag teas. They're all loose teas. And she can correct me if I'm wrong, but her teas are amazing. Whenever I see her, I just always go over and open her teas and just breathe them in for a little bit, because just in that alone, it changes your day. So we're going to have something at some point coming up about the teas. I'm not sure how that's going to all play out as far as a live, but we're going to work that in somewhere. And maybe it'll be a couple, maybe it's going to be a series kind of thing. I'm not really sure how that's going to go yet. But she's willing to ship to anybody. So any of the teas we talk about, or anything like that, she's gonna be there to help guide us and guide me to guide you to a tea that you might enjoy or like. So that's it. I'm done rambling. Have a great day. Be kind to each other. Thanks.